Then we drive to Detroit. We've had a day off in Detroit. A place called Royal Oak actually, but it's all part of Detroit. Reasonably good hotel. No, all right, it's right. Didn't want to eat there. Just had a pretty relaxing day off. Actually went to the cinema and watched Bridget Jones's Diaries, I think it's called, which is cool. But it's kind of a ghost town. There was about 5 people in the cinema. It's a bit weird. And then empty when we came out. All the staff had gone home. It's really weird. Anyway, that was it. And then we do Royal Oak gig itself. I've been really worried about this one. This is one of the biggest venues on the whole tour. It holds 1,700 people. A bit like the Forum in London, only more ornate. And in fact, it looks as if it could hold a good 2,500, but it's limited to 1,700 because they've got tables and chairs. But it's a massive building. And before we'd got there, we'd sold 174 tickets, which was just terrible. And we were embarrassed, really, and disappointed, because I'd done this building before, apparently, in previous years, and sold it out, many times. So disappointing. Up front, anyway. So we get there, and I look outside, and it just is such a huge building, and my heart sinks when I realise just how big it is. And I think, well, maybe when we get inside, it'll be something you can shut the balcony off, and the downstairs will only hold about 700 or 800. It'll be split between the two, hopefully, and they can block bits off, so it won't look too bad. And it's not really like that. The balcony is tiny, so the bulk of the people are downstairs. And it's laid out in such a way that the amount of tickets we'd sold would simply just fill in this first little section. And it's just horrible. But it had brilliant lights, a huge stage, massive PA system. It had all the things you wanted, except for it didn't have an audience. So I was so worried about it. And today Chris turns up with Grand Theft Audio, having just done this big, massive sold-out tour with another band that they supported on the West Coast. So I'm really embarrassed, and I'm apologising and so on. It's dreadful. Anyway, we do it, and it all kicks off. And that, as it turned out, we ended up with about 550 people, something like that. So nowhere near as tragic as it could have been, but a long way from what it needed to be. But it was a brilliant crowd. The crowd were mad, really, really good. Somebody threw a smoke flare, it looked like a military smoke flare on stage, and I just saw this big fiery thing come flying past my head. And I don't know if that was somebody that didn't like it or somebody that did, and that was kind of a stupid way of showing it, and never did find out. But it's a bit disconcerting, as you can imagine. And the other thing that's disconcerting was I could see kind of where it came from, and no one went there, no security went there, so it looked like I just thought, well, he's still there. Wherever it was still there, so that was a bit of a break. So I kept expecting another landmine or something to come blasting on stage, or get shot or something. It was a bit worrying. Anyway, but yeah, just a really good gig. The only problem I'm finding with all of this, like Grand Theft Audio turn up, and I'm chatting to Chris about various things, and you begin to hear just how much press and radio he's doing. And bearing in mind he's supporting other people, and he's first on of 3 bands when he's with me. Grand Theft Audio are. And he's doing radios every day. He's getting printouts of what stations are playing his music, and so who to call and all the rest of it. Just a really well organised thing. The gig itself, the local heavy alternative rock station, who we would have hoped would have been playing us, turn up, invited by Grand Theft Audio's record company to see Grand Theft Audio. They're not even there to see me, and it's only thanks to Chris's hard work, because he's a mate, that he gets this man down into my dressing room from this radio station, and we're chatting, and I find out he hasn't even got an album, not heard the album, and so we make a connection and something happens. But it was frustrating that none of this seems to be happening for me, and that's why I'm here. So the PR side of it, the press side of it, it seemed to be a bit lacking, but I'm told that we're doing more than enough, but I don't know. The radio side of it is incredibly lacking, and out of the 7 shows we've done, there's only been 2 local TVs. I mean, these are very little things, and they're not NBC or anything. Little local public broadcast type things in 2 places, New York and Boston. And we did a couple in Montreal. The Canadians are brilliant, but in America, out of the 5 American shows, I've done 2 little TV things. I was told I had a big radio thing lined up, and then I was told that I could only do it. I could only do the interview if I'd agreed to do an acoustic song. We're an industrial rock band. How can I do an acoustic song? And even if I could, and I might be able to lash something up, I'd have to think about it and figure out how I can turn a 48-track industrial recording into a single-track acoustic guitar version with me singing it. Can you imagine Rip acoustically? It might be possible, but it would take me time to figure out how to do it, and how to do it in a way that's going to help sell the record. Can't imagine. Anyway, but you would have thought then, because now we're told that happens a lot in America, and that's why we're not getting some of the radio thing. You would have thought that somebody would have said that before. You really need to work out 2 or 3 acoustic songs because it'll be important to get radio. But no one said anything. So we get here. I've got no gear for doing acoustic stuff, although I'm sure I could rent a guitar. But absolutely unprepared as to how to go about it. And this tour is absolutely flat out and hectic. And I haven't got time to sit down and figure out how I'm going to do industrial songs with an acoustic guitar. So that's bloody frustrating, really. And really, really annoying. The whole reason for doing these tours is the media coverage that they generate. So that when I leave here, there's a whole load of stuff going on. When I leave Detroit, Detroit knows I've been there, fans or not. And it's not happening. Or it doesn't feel like it's happening. It's certainly not happening with radio. And Chris was saying that that they're getting it, and no one knows who they are. He said, and you're Gary Newman. He said, nearly everyone knows who you are. Everyone will talk to you, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So, getting a bit worried about the record company side of things at the moment. I've met them in New York. They took us out in New York. In fact, Gil, who does the radio, got thrown out with apparently starting a fire, though he says he didn't. So after all that, I just thought that they were brilliant people, and they really are lovely people to talk to. But I'm a little bit worried that they are too small and not able to oversee this kind of project, in the way that needs to be done. We've seen no local representation in any of the towns we've been to, and just being with Chris for one night, in that one night alone, showed us how different it can be, and it's frustrating. And we're trying to be nice and friendly about it, and not, moan and get all whingy about it. But the fact is, not enough is happening, and I'm losing a lot of money on this tour, and it's really important, and it's not happening. The gigs are happening, but the things that need to happen because of the gigs, the big over bubble of activity, not happening at all so far.